We work in the Klondike. We're looking for gold. We operate 600 square kilometers of claims directly outside of Dawson on the partially paved Bonanza Road. At kilometer 18, you come onto our claims, and we're fully road accessible. The drillers have ordered pizza to the drill from Dawson, which is an issue. The point here, 20 million ounces of gold mined from the gravels in the last 120 years is a world-class endowment. Until now, there's been no known source. The prevailing theory was that the gold was eroded away and there was no gold left in the bedrock, which is incorrect. What we've seen after basically 8 PhD geoscience people for a year in 2018, they identified a new structural system. So the northwest, the stuff that goes from top left to bottom right was known, and these were gold bearing, but what we discovered was a completely different set of thrust faults. Those thrust faults, unforeseen until then, are gold bearing. They actually contributed, they pushed gold into the Klondike and then pushed it along the pre-existing faults. And so basically both fault sets are mineralized in the form of a checkerboard. It also, that model explains why the gold is where it is from a placer perspective, and for the first time in 120 odd years, we can explain the distribution of gold in bedrock, and there's lots of it, as well as the distribution of gold in the placer creeks. What we see in bedrock, and this, if you look up in the top left map, the little yellow box is the map that's shown in the main part. So we have 600 square kilometers of ground. This is was less than 10% of it. What we see structurally on this map is what we see elsewhere in the belt. This is where we focused on. The top is Bonanza Creek. The bottom left is El Dorado Creek, and the wedge in between, as we've determined, is Bonanza Creek and El Dorado Creek are two major crustal structures, and there's faulting in between. The Lone Star Zone, we now know that was a little historic blip of a shaft from the turn of the century. We now know that as a 200-meter wide fault that's gold mineralized from one end to the other. We have 5 kilometers of it in outcrop. We have 3.5 kilometers of it in drill core that's hit. And we've detailed about 1 kilometer of it at 50-meter centers across 200 meters of width. That is effectively continuously mineralized to some degree or other, sits at surface, and we've only drilled it, as you'll see, we've only drilled it to about 75 meters depth. The Standard Zone, the next one down, is the source of the El Dorado or the White Channel gravels. It's hosted by a siliceous felsite rock, and it's quartz veins. The quartz veins themselves are 5 kilometers in length. We get fantastic gold grades in that, so basically it is not disseminated, it's more cloddy gold. This summer we drilled one of the best holes in the world. At the time, 1,000 grams gold, 1,000 grams silver, over a meter. We thought it was parallel to the Standard Zone and a kind of a separate zone. As it turns out from our structural mapping, it's not. It's on those other set of faults. And predictably, we think that the intersections of those two fault systems can host jewelry box high grade. And finally, just because it was an investment conference the other day, I'll give you this. For the last 5 years, we've done going from December around about, or January now, Klondike Gold's share price doubles or triples or quadruples going into the summer every year. And that's 5 years of pushing a wet noodle uphill in a poor gold market to get that reaction. In the bottom left, over the 6-year history of basically the revitalization of the Klondike Gold, we've raised $15 million, spent $2.5 million cleaning up the past errors of previous management, and have spent about $12 million on drilling and other work. And average depth of hole all the way through this is between 75 and 100 meters. We're only scratching the surface. This is an orogenic system, and it's fully intact. What we're finding at surface, the gold at surface is the top of an orogenic gold system that has kilometers of depth. Thank you.